There is nothing particularly glorious about sweaty fellows laden with killing tools going along to fight. And yet, such a column represents a great deal more than the individuals mustered into a division. All that is behind those men is in this column too. The old battles, long forgotten, that secured our nation. Scores of skirmishes, far off, such as Marines have nearly every year. Traditions of things endured and things accomplished, such as regiments hand down forever. All of this passes into the forward zone, to the point of contact, where war is girt with horrors, and common men endure these horrors and overcome them, along with the insistent yearnings of the belly and the reasonable promptings of fear. And in this, I think, is glory.
Captain John Thomason wrote these words in 1918, describing the Marines that fought here in Belleau Wood. Marines who shouldered the fate of a nation while the world watched hopefully. In June 1918, the Allies were pinned down along a line of defense in France that had not changed much in 3 years of desperate trench warfare. Barraged with the noxious gas of chemical weapons and unrelenting artillery and mortar fire. The Germans had decided that this was the year to break through the Allied defenses. That June, 29 German divisions attacked along the line and were within artillery range of the French capital of Paris. Most of the world viewed the prospects of victory as dim. U.S. Marines who had just recently arrived from the States were ordered to march to the sound of the guns. Along the way, a major from a depleted French unit, falling back to Paris, told the advancing Marines to retreat, that the Germans could not be stopped. Captain Lloyd Williams, a company commander in the 4th Marine Brigade, snapped back. "Retreat hell, we just got here." Here is where the Germans massed their forces for a breakthrough to the French capital. The American reinforcements counterattacked, and a brigade of U.S. Marines valiantly waded into the battle, across this wheat field and into these dark and tangled woods. They fought a determined battle that would change the fate of a nation, of a continent, and of the Marine Corps itself.
In the late afternoon, June 6th, the sun was low enough to shine under the edge of their helmets. The shells ripped overhead, the woods were on fire, and the smell of cordite filled their nostrils. The Marines marched forward in determined strides, their shoulders hunched over, their eyes pinned to the edge of the woods ahead, where shrapnel was shredding the trees. Some of them, veterans of combat, displayed a determined look of resolve. Others were replacements a month or so from basic training. They intended to do the right thing, and they intently watched their corporals, sergeants, and lieutenants who led the way.
During the battle, the Germans, with a vicious onslaught of artillery fire, attacked 2nd Battalion 6 Marines with poisonous gas. In an act of unselfish heroism, Gunnery Sergeant Fred Stockham stripped off his own gas mask and put it on one of his Marines. Heedless of his own wounds, he persevered and continued to save his fellow Marines until he succumbed to his wounds. For his sacrifice, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. Events like these further inspired the Marines. They fought through the enemy gas attacks, against the overwhelming odds, and in hand-to-hand combat with fixed bayonets. The German line broke 26 days later. The cost to the Marines was high. Over 1,000 devil dogs fell in these woods and fields. But the message it sent to the world was that victory was possible, and that Marines, like Gunnery Sergeant Stockham, would hold the line in the name of freedom. Belleau Wood was the Marine Corps' first major involvement in land battle. The courage of the Marines here proved that Marine regiments could take the fight to the enemy in any clime and place. After Belleau Wood, the world knew that whenever and wherever Marines were called, victory, regardless of the odds, was the only acceptable outcome. It is this legacy that Marines carry into battle every day. Just as Captain Thomason said in 1918, there is much more to those columns than sweaty fellows going along to fight. Old battles that secured our nation, Tripoli, Chapultepec, Guadalcanal, Chosin, Hue City, and now on Azaria, Najaf, and Fallujah. In the words of President John F. Kennedy, in the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I don't believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. Just like the Marines at Belleau Wood, we are once again engaged in a sustained operation ashore alongside our brothers in the United States Army. Just like at Belleau Wood, the Marines have been given the toughest sector. And just like at Belleau Wood, Marines have prevailed over a resilient and determined enemy who has made us pay for our gains with blood and sacrifice. Once again, as in any struggle, the road ahead is far from certain. But as Marines, we're not dissuaded by the challenges of war or the tough conditions of a warrior's life. And in the end, we don't just accept our destiny, we shape it.
We are America's force in readiness, an expeditionary air-ground team able to project the nation's might beyond the littorals and win, regardless of the odds.
Since 1775, the Marines have fought across the globe in the name of freedom. Today, we do so with the support of our families at home. They have sacrificed so much. They are part of our Marine Corps legacy, and they deserve our greatest appreciation.
The men and women of today's Corps stand shoulder to shoulder with those who have gone before, with a proud and deserved reputation of honorable and selfless service to our nation. Sometimes in history, a generation is called on to defend what is most important to us. You are that generation. Be proud of who you are and what you do. I am certainly proud of you.
Happy birthday, Marines.
And Semper Fidelis.